At Simply Aviation, our mission is to share in detail what it's like to fly on as many different airlines as possible, so you can make an informed decision when choosing an airline, and we try to prioritize what's primarily relevant to most of us, economy class. And you know, economy reviews aren't as exciting, aren't as viral as making videos about premium products. They simply won't get us as many views as making a video about how we suffered through 12 hours of first class because they only served sparkling wine and not real champagne. So, since our budget is limited, I do think accepting some help when the conditions are ripe is tolerable. And because transparency is very important to me, I do want to be straightforward with you and let you know that the ticket for today's journey was provided to us for free by the airline. And I'm only ever willing to do this when my conditions are met, namely that they cannot treat us differently than other customers. For example, I refuse emergency exit row and bulkhead row seats. I want a standard seat to showcase the legroom an average passenger can expect. I also want to say what I want and to ensure that the airline doesn't get to view the video before I publish it, and most importantly, no money changes hands ever at any point. And I'm excited that this helps us to show you a new airline today. Once again, a long-haul low-cost airline, something that has become kind of a thing here at Simply Aviation, and dive into whether the money savings from the cheaper tickets are actually worth it compared to a legacy carrier. We'll dive into both of Play's aircraft types, their different varieties of seats and which airplanes feature which, what transferring at Keflavík Airport is like, and where Play might hide some additional cost from you. I'm excited you've decided to join us on today's trip, so let's get going. Aviation geeks and frequent flyers, welcome to today's episode of our flight review series Brutally Honest. We're about to fly across the Atlantic Ocean on Icelandic low-cost carrier WOW Air and see how it compares to... What? It's not called WOW Air anymore? It doesn't have anything to do with WOW Air, but look at their planes and their business model, it's the same, isn't it? Okay, well, so you might remember WOW Air, which we've covered a couple of times on our channel as well. They were an Icelandic low-cost airline that operated from 2012 until its bankruptcy in 2019. And right after it ceased operation, a handful of former WOW Air executives and investors came together, forming a new airline in the belief that they can do it better. So in 2021, Play took to the skies for the first time. At the first glance, the airline does seem eerily similar to WOW Air, especially due to its simple brand name and single-color livery. But to my surprise, the journey on Play was quite different in a couple of aspects, and I do believe the airline has a more sustainable business model than WOW Air did, but more on that at the end of the video. Today, we're flying from Hamburg, Germany via Keflavík, Iceland to Boston, and then back once again via Keflavík to Berlin. The two Germany flights will be operated by Airbus A320neos and the Boston flights with A321neos, meaning we'll get to experience both types on today's trip. Our journey begins in an airport hotel near Hamburg's Helmut Schmidt Airport, which is named after the Chancellor of West Germany from 1974 to 1982 and who was from Hamburg. Play operates out of Hamburg Airport's Terminal 1, and like most low-cost airlines, Play is very particular about how much luggage you bring with you. Their cheapest fare category only comes with a personal item. However, Play's definition of a personal item is surprisingly generous, with a weight limit of 10 kilograms and size limits that would even fit my 30-liter Peak Design everyday backpack. The next higher fare bracket already comes with a checked bag as well as an additional carry-on. You can also purchase a carry-on by itself, which sets you back 66 euros when purchased online, 80 when purchased at check-in, and a whopping 100 euros if you forget about it until you're at the gate. Those prices are one way, so multiply them by 2 for return flights, and therefore flying between Europe and North America, meaning the prices are lower if you just fly to or from Iceland. Carry-ons can be up to 12 kilograms, and my standard carry-on sized Samsonite suitcase fits perfectly. But Play went full out with my ticket, providing me with a checked bag included. As always, I'm at the airport way too early, but especially in Hamburg, that's no problem at all since the airport has a fantastic Panorama Terrace, which is freely accessible for everyone as its entrance is located ahead of security. Although Hamburg's traffic isn't the most interesting, as this airport mainly hosts European short-haul flights. This Dash 8 of Luxair is coming in from Luxembourg, and this Airbus A319 of Eurowings is just finishing its flight from London Heathrow. And today we're lucky, even catching what probably amounts to the most interesting regular flight to land at Hamburg, Iran as Airbus A330-200 coming in from Tehran. And here's our plane, impossible to miss in its bright red livery, an Airbus A320neo registered TF-PPC and delivered to play directly from Airbus in 2022, making this plane less than a year old. Since low-cost airlines have tight turnaround times, let's head down to our gate. Our flight is parked on a remote stand, so we'll have to head down to the bus gates. I appreciate Hamburg Airport providing bottle refill stations down here. I definitely recommend making use of them, as Play won't offer any complimentary beverages. Since this plane was directly delivered to Play, it features the airline's chosen cabin, and not the cabin of a previous operator, which we'll see on our connecting flight. This Airbus A320neo is equipped with 180 Recaro CL3710 seats, a fairly high-quality seat model rarely found aboard low-cost carriers. Earlier this year, we published a video about Japanese low-cost airline Zip Air from Los Angeles to Tokyo, what I consider my first ever truly tolerable low-cost long-haul flight, and they installed the same seat model aboard their Boeing 787s. Each seat comes with a headrest which is adjustable on the sides as well as vertically. This is not a given, as this was one of the features missing on my Scoot flight from Berlin to Singapore last year. What I also appreciate is this tablet and cup holder contraption. Since Play did not install entertainment systems on their planes, this makes it easier to watch something on your device. And beneath the seat you may find USB ports, both Type A and C, which can be used free of charge. Yes, I'm looking at you, Scoot. Being 180 centimeters tall, the legroom is kind of tight. Being able to exit the plane halfway across the Atlantic will come in handy. A standard tray table is installed as well, and up top there is a literature pocket. A coat hook can be found on the side. In the ceiling you can find personal air vents and reading lights as on all A320s. I really like how Play made use of the LED lighting on those new A320s displaying its brand colors. With that, let's sit back and get ready for our first flight of the trip, a 3-hour hop over to Iceland.
Left behind in case of evacuation. Each exit is clearly marked with an exit sign in case of emergency evacuation. See you in the lights and broadband markings will guide your way to an exit.
Airbus continuously develops its planes to make them more efficient. I've previously talked about how they widened the cabin of the Airbus A350s, enabling airlines to either increase the seat width or install an additional seat per row without losing passenger comfort. But they also included some innovations in A320 family aircraft, most notably moving the lavatories to free up space for more seats. And they accomplished that by moving one of the aft lavatories behind one of the jump seats. It looks a bit funny as the door somewhat feels like that of a vault, but as far as I know, this is standard on most new A320 family aircraft now, even on legacy carriers. It does, however, make the lavatories absolutely tiny. In the one next to it, you can barely even stand upright. But then again, it's the lavatory, so who cares? Even on those new planes, Play does not offer in-flight Wi-Fi or stream to your device entertainment. Since there is no complimentary service, you can order stuff whenever you feel like it. Checking the price for water, like I always do on low-cost flights, shows a price of €2 for a 1/3 liter bottle. That equals a per liter price of €6, which is roughly the same as on Wizz Air and Scoot, and a bit more expensive than on Zip Air. The snacks are on the more expensive side too, €5 for cup noodles. Even Wizz Air only charges €4 for those. The main takeaway from that is, fill up your water bottle at the airport and maybe eat something before the flight. For now, I went with some Icelandic chocolate and a bottle of water. And just like that, we're approaching Iceland. When I refer to the airport we're flying into, I always say Keflavík and not Reykjavík, which is the capital and largest city of the country. That's because the main airport of Iceland isn't actually in Reykjavík, it's in the town of Keflavík, around 50 kilometers or 45 minutes by car southwest of Reykjavík. The ending Vík translates to bay, with Keflavík directly translated meaning Driftwood Bay, while Reykjavík means Smoky Bay, likely referring to the steaming hot springs in the area. Keflavík Airport is one of just a handful on Earth which has these cool jet bridges that basically serve as permanent stairs, where you still end up having to take a bus. The only other airports I know with those are Munich, Germany and Los Angeles. Let me know in the comments if you know any other airports that have jet bridges which are not connected to a terminal too. We don't get to experience them today though, as we're using regular stairs. When you search for flights through Keflavík, quite often you might stumble across really tight connections, sometimes less than an hour, and I'm sure you're wondering if those are reliably doable. We've just arrived at the terminal, so let's see how long it takes us to make it to our connecting gate. Since Iceland is part of the Schengen area, you'll only now legally leave Europe, making a passport check necessary during transit. It always infuriates me when airports have e-gates at passport control and don't use them, which was the case today. Despite that, we got through quite quickly. Luckily, since almost all flights at Keflavík arrive from Europe, Canada or the United States, there is no need for an additional security check during transit. Play and Iceland Air both operate hub waves at the airport, meaning most flights from Europe arrive at the same time and flights to the US depart at the same time, enabling plenty of possible connections. However, Play and Iceland Air space them out, so by not overlapping each other's departure banks, they're not overloading the airport, which is a smart move. If you thought you'll get a snack at Keflavík Airport to avoid the high prices of Play's onboard bistro, you're out of luck, as everything here in Keflavík is very expensive. This small Caesar salad is almost €14, a half-liter bottle of water is $2.70, and a bottle of Pepsi is disgusting. We've got the gate all the way at the end of the terminal today, and even with passport control and our little excursion to the supermarket, it only took us around 12 minutes from gate to gate, which is almost hard to believe. Now we're off to Boston. Play operates two different types of Airbus A321neos. They have the newer version with 3 doors, which we're just passing by. This is the newer cabin flex version, which all A321neos come in since 2018. By rearranging the doors, Airbus was able to increase the overall capacity of the plane from 220 to a whopping 240 seats. However, Airbus A321neos manufactured between 2016 and 2018 still feature the classic 4-door layout, which is visible on our plane. To my surprise though, Play has equipped both versions with 214 total seats, meaning our 4-door version is near the limit, but the 3-door version has to make use of the additional space somehow. Maybe that plane comes with better legroom. We're flying on the tighter 4-door version today though, on a plane registered TF-PLB, a 2018 built Airbus A321neo. Of PLAY's 4 A321neos, 3 used to be operated by now defunct Mexican low-cost airline Interjet and were taken over by PLAY. That's also why the plane is equipped with a different type of seat, the Jevin Piuma Evo. This seat model also has an adjustable headrest, and surprisingly the legroom even seems a tad bit better than on the A320neo. Up above, once again personal reading lights and adjustable air vents. The planes taken over from Interjet are not equipped with USB power ports, which is particularly bothersome as this is the longer of our 2 flights. Contrary to some other low-cost airline seats, these ones can be reclined. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and get ready for departure alongside all other North America-bound flights of PLAY. As of September 2023, in North America, PLAY offers flights to Boston, Baltimore, Washington Dulles, New York Stewart, and Hamilton, Ontario. Low-cost airlines used to focus heavily on smaller airports farther away from big cities to save on cost, but a lot of major low-cost carriers have moved away from this business model. Even ultra-low-cost carriers such as Ryanair now offer flights to major airports like Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Vienna, and Brussels. And while I'm sure smaller airports might be more convenient for passengers living close to them, the intention with flying into Stewart is clearly to serve the greater New York area and Hamilton to serve Toronto. And honestly, I'm not sure this is the right move for PLAY. Passengers searching for flights from YYC are not going to stumble across PLAY's flights from Hamilton, and neither will passengers from New York. This significantly increases PLAY's cost for raising awareness for these connections, and as a passenger, it's just bothersome to have to commute to an airport few people travel from. Fewer options means less flexibility, which at the end of the day you are trading for a better price. Out of PLAY's entire business model, this is the choice I question the most. To pass the time, I got myself something to eat. I went with a can of sparkling water, a muffin, and a pizza because when I flew on WOW Air from Keflavík to San Francisco in 2017, I also tried their pizza. WOW Air's pizza was round, while PLAY's is rectangular, but from what I remember about my flight on WOW Air, the pizza wasn't all that great. And the one on PLAY is certainly edible, considerably better than the one I had on WOW Air, and it'll do for a plane, but of course you can't compare it to one on the ground. Although I would appreciate if PLAY offered some fresh meal options, maybe some pre-order meals. Low-cost carriers like Malaysia's AirAsia and Turkey's Pegasus show how it's done. At least a handful of pre-order meal options for flights departing from Keflavík would be nice. Even Icelandair has them too. And just like that, we've made it to Boston. I returned on PLAY 2 days later, traveling on the exact same A321neo I came in on, continuing on one of their other A320neos to Berlin, one that also featured the new cabin. 3 of their A320neos don't feature these high-quality Recaro CL3710 seats though, they have the more basic BL3510. For your convenience, here's a list of which airplanes feature which cabin. What was noteworthy about the return trip was the time it took to check in. I honestly cannot remember the last time I stood in line 40 minutes for check-in, but we were done on time for our flight and we were able to leave Boston without delay. And that's really the conclusion about traveling on PLAY. The airline is a low-cost airline, and that means you'll have to make do with fewer amenities and less comfort. There are no complimentary meals, no in-flight entertainment, and certain steps of your journey might be a bit more bothersome than on legacy carriers. However, PLAY is also reliable. The connecting times in Keflavík are small, meaning that your overall journey time doesn't increase too drastically, and they do get you to your destination at a lower cost. And Play is certainly an improvement over WOW Air, particularly when it comes to their chosen cabin of Recaro CL3710 seats. Headrests, tablet holders, and power ports are all features that were nowhere to be found on WOW Air. But as of October 2023, these seats are only on around half of Play's fleet yet. The rest has the other seats I mentioned before. In general, you get a sense that Play is not as ultra low cost in its appearance as WOW Air was, and I do think that enhances the perceived comfort quite a bit. If Play asked me what they should change, I can think of two things. First, don't fly to Hamilton or Stewart, just fly to JFK like everyone else, even Norse Atlantic manages to do that. And second, please offer the possibility to pre-order hot meals. Something that's fresh, that's not indefinitely shelf-stable, at least on flights departing from your home base in Keflavík. But apart from that, they were one of the better low-cost carriers I've flown in recent years. And if you're willing to sacrifice some of your comfort for a better deal, go for it. With that, welcome back to Germany. Thank you so much for watching and coming along. I hope you have enjoyed this video and will join us again next week on another trip. We've got plenty more interesting videos coming up, so make sure you are subscribed. And if you want to support our mission to share first-hand, no-nonsense reviews of as many airlines as possible, please consider supporting our work right here on YouTube at the Members tab. All of these amazing people have pitched in already, and they help us book flights on new carriers and add new airlines to our channel. This year, we were already able to add 12 new airlines to our channel: Biman Bangladesh Airlines, LAM Mozambique, Viva Air, Go Air, ITA Airways, Norse Atlantic Airways, Caribbean Airlines, Aerolíneas Argentinas, Zip Air, Lyft, T-Way, and Play, bringing our total to 236 airlines showcased, more than any other blog, written or video anywhere on the internet. Even if it doesn't get us a lot of views, we'll continue to hunt down the big, the small, and the obscure airlines of our world for you. Thank you for your support, thank you to Play for the free ticket, and whether you are a sponsor, a subscriber, or simply stopping by for this one video, thank you very much for your support. I'll see you again for a new video next week, and until then, safe travels.